Welcome to the 5th episode of Building Excellence.
It's good to be back.
I know. There's been 3 other episodes since you've been on here. Host?
I know. You did one by yourself the other day, right?
Sure did.
Yeah. It's just getting used to the headset and the microphone again, but I'm happy to be back as a co-host
Right?
on this thing.
You're listed as a co-host, so
Yeah, I know. That's what you said. Soon enough. I'm glad you showed me how to do that because then now we can,
now you can just set it up and run.
I can sit in here and complain on the microphone.
That will be a good one.
Yeah, exactly.
You like to talk anyway, so.
Everybody listen up.
Right?
Exactly. So what's the topic today?
The topic is about teams.
Yeah, super important aspect to any company who's talking about growth.
Yeah. Can't do it all by yourself.
No,
Although some people think you can.
You've tried. You did it for a long time by yourself. So now we have to, hopefully people who listen can kind of get some gold out of what we're about to talk about.
I'm sure they will. Everyone's done something by themselves. It's just, I realized fairly early on in this venture that I only had 60 hours a week for 52 weeks out of the year, and there wasn't any more time coming unless I was killing myself.
Right.
So what are you going to do? You can't scale like that.
No, it's just going to be a flat line. You're either going to burn up and be done, or you're going to make the leap to expand whatever your venture is and try to take on like-minded people.
Some guys try to do it themselves. 7 days a week, freaking 80 hours a week plus. Oh yeah, we just keep running it.
Yeah, 5 years later, you see them and they're just like, I cannot do this anymore.
Well, they're like shells probably.
Yeah, that's it. You're a shell of a man, especially if you have a family, which most of us do, most guys do in this industry, and you're sitting there like trying to juggle the two. It's almost an impossible feat.
For sure.
Really?
I mean, my wife and I have had many conversations. I know you and yours have too, but of like, you need to be home more, you need to do this more. And like, dude, this industry, I feel like in this industry, the people on our team are home more than most.
Yeah, that's kind of the idea. The more helping hands you have frees up more time for them to come in, go to work, and end the day appropriately versus, feeling like when you did it by yourself, have to get to a completion point with maybe you want another guy, and at that point, 7 o'clock comes real fast.
For sure.
7 a.m., 7 p.m., 12 to 15-hour days, you're in it for sure.
Next thing you know, it's like, well, that's what I was saying. Like this industry just eats people alive. And I feel like no one really, I mean, that should be a whole nother podcast. Like no one really knows what goes on in this industry other than that they want this project done, but like what goes into it and what people sacrifice to make those things happen. Like these guys working 7 days a week. Like I think about it with tree guys all the time. I feel like tree guys are always working 7 days a week during the 3 good months out of the year, and then they take winters off. Dude, like you're killing yourself for 3 quarters of the year. Just straight like
running,
dying.
Yeah.
You can't run like no break for too long,
Yeah, and you had to figure that out early on, I'm sure. Within probably the first year, I'm assuming you're like, okay, this cannot be the way. There has to be some growth as far as time allowance for yourself.
Well, dude, honestly, a lot of it was Jill. Like year 1, I was working Saturdays. I was working Sunday afternoons. I was doing like, because I still would go to church like every Sunday, just like now. But there was a time where she was like, when she had Declan, and we had Declan, and she was home alone, where she was like, you are not allowed, like you can't work on the weekends anymore. Like I am going to die.
Right.
Because I'm not getting a break.
Right.
And she's like, I didn't sign up to be a single parent, like this and that. And I was like, it's a pretty easy, like, okay, like, yeah, I want like success for my family and this and that, like I'll make that a hard thing, and didn't work weekends anymore unless we had to. Like, and initially you had to a good portion, but it was a lot less. And then now it's like very rare that we'll work on a Saturday.
Right, which because you have the hands to facilitate deadlines. You know, when you set a deadline in this industry, part of what you're trying to accomplish has to be that idea that you told the client A, B, C, finish by this time. Mm-hmm. And when you're by yourself, that's when you start dragging these super long hours, which is why the team is important. You have all these people helping to facilitate. You know, you have multiple projects going, and then something comes up, and you can draw on that pool of talented individuals to come assist to get to that deadline. And that comes back to the topic today. You know, why we have the people we have and the personalities we have, and what it means to have a successful company involved in this industry.
Totally revolves around the people that you have.
100%. You know, like I say all the time to the guys, I was like, you guys are like my brothers. And that like-minded attitude towards your trade and goal is what makes this team so successful.
For sure.
You know, it's nice. Everybody calls each other all the time. You know, you'd answer the phone with some hesitation, like you're going to have to deal with something, but it's great when it's just like, hey, what's going on?
I would say probably 50% of the time that's what it is now.
Yeah, it's nice because the people that have been vetted by you to come in and be part of the team, read the handbook, follow the ideas and principles that have been set out for the culture that you're trying to create, fit well together.
Yeah.
You know, it's a lot of the same like-mindedness between everybody.
Well, dude, I think that, excuse me. I think that the guys vet the new guys now. You know, it's not really me vetting anyone anymore. Like, I'll have a meeting with them, and eventually, like, that will probably go away as well. But
sure.
We don't have, I mean, the true test if someone's going to make it here or not is like how they work with other people. And do they have the basic things that like would make them fit on a high performance team? You know, like how's their work ethic? What's their drive like? What's their personality like? Can they work well with others? Do they have a quality skill set that they've like put together over the years? You know what I mean?
Right.
And I feel like we have a very simple way of weeding that out, and it's just like come work.
Yeah, it's live. It's guys in the field literally. If you have the positive attitude, this is why I love them. It's if the new person coming in has a positive attitude about what they're doing, the guys are willing to teach them and show them certain tricks, stuff they might be uncomfortable doing.
Yeah. Without
judgment because of the attitude and hard work that's being put in as a new person. And that's how you succeed, is at least with this company. I know, you know, sometimes as the company's extremely large, those people kind of just filter in and out.
Yeah.
You know, and
sometimes it gets missed probably.
Exactly. There's just so many bodies.
Certain week, like unless you're paying attention.
Which is why I think the caliber of people who have here, especially as, you know, their carpentry trades along with just their personalities, is so amazing to watch them come and talk. So how's the new guy doing? Great attitude.
Right.
And you don't get a lot of details, which means that they're doing well.
Yeah.
Versus like negative. It's either you don't get a lot or here's the negative stuff.
Exactly.
So filtering through that is very easy by how they work through the process with us. So.
Well, it's kind of like just because we've always been looking for that caliber of people, you know, I mean, you know, the different I feel like I have this conversation all the time because I'm always telling people that are new, you know, we've had a lot of different iterations of this team, you know,
Correct.
A lot of different versions.
Yes.
And you kind of go through that for growing pains, you know, you don't really know like what makes a good team until you've been there and like figured that out. But yeah. I think, and I mean, you were the first one to say, you know, like you didn't come on the team until you saw that there was a solid core group of guys here.
It's super important to know that the baseline is where it needs to be to move forward.
Right.
You know, if you have cracks in your foundation,
you're going to have some problems.
You're going to start off with massive problems, you know? And that was the biggest thing in anybody who has a quality business, whether or not they're involved with sort of the people under them, they know that it got started with building a quality group from the base up.
Right.
The first few people that they started their $1 million company with were not just people they met on the street.
Or if they were, then that guy was dying.
Yeah. They usually search them out, or they're people that were been trusted with whatever they were doing prior.
Yeah.
So bringing those types of people on usually sets your foundation pretty well, which is why everybody here has been here as long as they have.
Yeah.
Even
very low turnover rate for
Yes.
like the core guys.
For sure. And that goes along with, you know, your idea that bringing in the best, paying them the best equates to the best work.
Right.
And that's factual. It's real.
Yeah.
You can see it.
I don't know, dude. I just felt like it's so crazy, like thinking back, but like somewhere along the way I read or heard or saw something about culture, and I think it honestly was Google. Like I was going to school full time for I got a finance degree, like a 2-year finance degree.
About you. Really?
Yeah, I was going to school at night, just crushing it, dude. Work all day, classes at night, 3 days a week, 3-hour classes.
Because if anybody doesn't know Zach, he's super lazy. He just goes home and goes to sleep. And
I got to just sit around all the time on my ass.
Exactly.
But
hence those 11 o'clock phone calls. I was thinking about.
Yeah, right. Usually you just don't even answer them anymore.
No, because you text. If you text me what we need to talk about, because you're like, hey, you up?
You're like, no, I'm not. I'm sleeping, actually.
11 o'clock is like super late for me.
Oh, I know, dude. Usually, that's rare, 11. It's usually like 9.
9:30. But we had a whole like hour and a half conversations about squirt guns one night.
We did do that. Well, we were drinking too, so it was like kind of like you're drinking together, you know?
Yeah, exactly. We didn't buy those.
Got to get some of those squirt
Yeah,
guns.
that's what I'm saying. We didn't buy those. It just popped
Super
in.
soakers.
Yeah, anybody listening who has
Retro.
super soakers,
The pump action ones.
bring them to Collinsville and drop them off.
New squirt guns, they suck.
Yeah, dude, garbage. I got worked at the birthday party because the squirt guns were garbage. Dress clothes ruined.
I'm trying to think back now how this whole thing started. I think it was like hearing about Google, and you know how like 10 to 12 years ago, we heard these stories about how Google was like this sick place to work.
Yeah.
They had like these cool, colorful rooms, and like people could take naps on the job. And,
Free
like,
food, whatever
free
you
food,
wanted.
all this shit.
Yeah, building this crazy kind of culture community for their employees
Yeah. And
to promote excellent work.
I think exactly to promote good atmosphere and good like personalities, you know?
Yeah, because you don't want to go to work if you don't like your job.
Right. And I think I had read that or something. And when I had kind of gone off on my own, one thing that I hated about working with other companies was the poor work environment.
Yeah.
Like whether it was a good work environment or a bad work environment, like just about every construction work environment is kind of crappy. Like,
Yeah.
because it's a hard job.
That's it.
We do hard work. You have to be good to be good. Usually the guys who are good don't want you. I was literally told by a guy once when I asked him a question, like, what, am I going to train you to do my job? And I was like, no, I just want to help you.
Yes.
But
In your
that
head, you're
was
like,
the response
actually,
that I got.
think that's what's supposed to be happening here. But okay.
Ideally, you'd want to train your replacement so you can move on. But if you don't have like a growth mindset, then of course, like there's only so many seats at the table. You know what I mean?
Correct. That's
Lame.
the old school
Super
mindset
lame,
of
dude.
things.
But so I was like, how can we make a place that is fun to be at work? Like, because this job is hard, but it's fun. Like you you get so much gratification from building the things that we build, especially like the cool, like high end stuff we get to do.
It's amazing.
Like it's sick.
Yeah.
And, or like the real, like tricky stuff, you know?
Yeah. Where there's a lot of thought and a lot of planning involved.
And then you see it all done and it's like, wow, like we did that.
Yeah. You're like, holy cow. Don't show my wife that or I'm going to have to build that shit at my own house.
Tell me about it.
I know. Your countertop.
But, I think that was initially my idea and she just kind of jumped on. But anyway, like I was trying to like figure out how do we do that here, and it was not really something I had ever seen before. So that's kind of where the handbook came in, and like just talking about like what my vision for the company was and like what my thoughts were. But of course, like when you're having these thoughts, you don't really like have it all planned out. So like you just kind of do one thing and then see if it works and then do the next thing. And it really did like I didn't realize for the first probably like 4 years the importance of a team. Like I knew you needed people, but back then like I was running every single job all the time.
Yeah.
In and out all the time. You don't have time to think about those kind of things.
No.
You just have to think about, man, we have so much work, I need more bodies.
Right.
Or, man, we don't have any work and I have all these bodies to feed. Like, I need to go get some work, you know? So it's like feast or famine back and forth all the time. You're just running around and like the little bits, I guess I was like reading some books and listening to podcasts and stuff back then. So like the little bits of information I would try to like use, but it took a long time before like that was the focus. And now like the team is the focus. I say it all the time. Like we're nothing without our people. Our people are the company. Like it's our company. It's
right.
My name might be on it, but it's our company. You know, everyone here has played a part in building it.
Especially the
guys that have been here
way.
for a minute.
Yeah, for sure. You know, and that's the thing. I'm sure at some point you realized, like, having a couple talented individuals, but some people who are learning, maybe not making as much money, can be wasteful because if you spend the money on the talented individuals, they can get these smaller tasks done in less time. So the value is still there. You know, you're still paying them, but the time equated to have somebody who's green walk around with their hands in their pockets, kind of waiting for direction when the other person knows they have to make the moves. They don't always have time to give direction.
Right.
So there's something to learn there. And I know it takes a lot of time.
Dude, it was all the way until like 2020 when we actually realized that.
Well, you probably didn't start realizing until you had enough bodies to go to these jobs where you actually had time to think about it.
Well, that for sure. Like there was definitely a point in time where Ryan was running that big addition that we did in Avon.
Yeah.
And that was when we were starting to, there's always so many steps in the stages, but that was where we were starting to like need a way to pass out information that wasn't just me, because up until that was in 2019, up until 2019, every bit of information went through Zach's head to be passed on to someone else. And it had like, that's not scalable because I'm only one person. You're going to have like multiple projects running. You're going to lose information. So I was able to take a whole week and like develop a system to like store and share information. And it was huge, you know, like we still use it today, every single day.
Absolutely. I remember that.
It's awesome.
I remember that. That was a hard week for you.
Oh, it was wicked hard, dude. I tried out 4 different freaking builder apps.
Yeah. You called me on the phone. You're like, does anybody do this? Do you have any ideas that you maybe talk to people who run apps? And I was like, I think that I had one that I had heard of and it didn't work out. And then you came to this one that we use currently and it's just been a home run. We do so many things. We needed something really flexible, and none of those apps were flexible. No.
Like you couldn't have the customization that we needed.
I think the interface between all the guys to be able to use it on their own to look through was like kind of the downfall of some of the other ones, because I still have looked back on them.
Yeah.
And been like, okay, so it's only accessible to X amount of users. If you want 20 guys to be able to use it, you have to pay
an exorbitant amount of money.
Correct. But this one that we have is pretty crazy. And I think the guys, you know, find it extremely handy.
Useful.
Yeah.
for a minute there, everyone hated it, but everyone hates
new.
change,
It's
and new stuff.
Yeah.
But dude, it was up until that point, like I didn't even really realize, it was probably right around then, but I didn't really fully realize the value of a team until 2020 in that event that you love to coin the phrase for.
Yeah, the Valentine's Day Massacre.
Yeah.
Pretty amazing day in the history of ZN. I told you we should get a poster of that. It is an iconic moment in this company because of all the things. We don't have to get into the details, but yes, it was, I think, when you realize that, you know what, if I'm not going to get what I need from everybody, we're going to go back to base. We're going to go baseline again.
Yep.
We're going to start
and that's
over.
really what happened.
Yeah.
And we went back a few steps to figure out how to get to the next few steps.
That's the best part about this company that I personally love. Maybe it's only me. I mean, I've had jobs that have gone on and have grown exponentially from because of lessons learned. Not everything always goes smooth. The stress level rises and falls with every project. Some are more, but you gain more from lessons learned than everything going smooth. Yes, it's nice, but
You're not getting any better.
no, if you go into the assumption that everything is always going to be smooth, then when it hits you with something difficult, you're going to fall apart.
Yeah.
You know me. I always plan for a worst case scenario going into every single thing so that I'm ready for it.
Right.
And I think it's just part of another aspect of the team. Like you have all these different people with all different mindsets that go on, which help facilitate the movement of the machine, and everybody handles certain things a different way.
Yeah. And you put it all together and it's like, wow.
I'm telling you, when I talk to the guys throughout the day and they're just like, I'm doing this, I got this, we bumped into this, we took care of this. I'm like, awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you for not calling.
I think people are starting to get that hint a little more.
Yeah, of course. Because, I think at some level they're realizing that they're being entrusted with something valuable.
Yeah. Just make a decision. Like the decisions have to be made at the lowest point possible.
You have to learn from it. If it doesn't go good, you'll have to fix it. So make the decision.
I think initially a lot of people too, like, are probably scared to make mistakes.
Of course.
Because they don't want to get chewed out about it, or they don't want to like have to face the music or whatever. But most people should know now, if they didn't already, that like here is like, we're a team of professionals. Correct. And mistakes are going to happen whether you're an expert or whether you're a novice. So like, as long as you're learning from the mistake, the company picks it up and we all just move forward. Like that's the power in the numbers. That's the power in having a wide spread of different projects we do, like the whole 9 yards.
The nice thing about when things do go bad, that we're such a tight-knit group as a team, that conversation gets had with everybody as far as what went wrong. So it's not just a learning lesson for one person.
Right.
It's actually like as a community, like this just happened.
We need to figure out why this happened and what are we going to do to make sure that we can make it go smoother next time.
Yeah, and the guy's like, well, I fixed it this way. And somebody may have had that happen to them in their life. And they say, well, next time we could do this to offset it. And it's kind of like this meeting of the minds in just a very casual way.
Yeah.
And there's no judgment like, well, why didn't you? It's, well, this happened to me before, and you could have done this. This is how we offset it. This is what to look for. And it's really crazy. Like I said, and I tell everybody, I get humbled every time I'm around these guys at work.
Yeah.
Because not everybody has been a specialized individual in one thing, and they've all have these decades of history and time in the field and stuff that they've seen. I put my time right in my back pocket just because.
Yeah, you never know what you're going to find
I will learn something new every single time.
Yeah.
If I'm with somebody, every single time they have a trick or something they've seen, or even just while we're working and talking, they'll tell me something new about that they've done. And I know that if I come across it, I can ask them. Oh, I talked to him like 2 weeks ago. He said he's familiar with this. Let me hit him up about an idea.
Right.
Or a solution or a question.
Right, right.
It's pretty amazing. I've not been around a group of guys with this much knowledge and willingness to share, non-judgmental.
That's what a lot of people have said. Like a lot of guys on the team have said that.
Yeah.
That this place is something special that they've never seen before.
Oh, yeah.
And that's kind of the idea, you know? I mean, we're trying to put together the best of the best. We're trying to put together the most quality individuals that fit with this kind of team mentality where all of us are going to have pride, but that's something that I've harped on for a long time is like, you put the ego to bed, you know, like everyone here's got pride. We're all badasses or whatever and really good at what we do. But it doesn't mean that we know everything. It doesn't mean that we can push someone down that doesn't know the way that we did it or think less of that person. You know, like each one of us has seen different things in our lives that have put us to a place where we are this professional individual.
Right.
And you put all those people together and it makes this like super group. But if it's a team of heroes or whatever that are all thinking that they're top dog, like it's never going to work, you know?
No, it doesn't. It doesn't ever work. Once egos start stepping into the picture, then you get this sort of situation that it's not fluid.
Yeah.
You know, the nice thing about it, when everybody's kind of humble in what they're doing and willing to work with each other, the rate of success has to go up because you're just constantly moving. There's no stalemate. There's no two people arguing about whose way is better. Does that make sense? You know, they're just sitting there like one guy says this, the other guy says this, and they butt heads. You're wasting time. If somebody, when I've been on jobs like, oh, Steve, you should do it this way, it's a lot faster. I'm going to try it that way. Yeah. And if that's the way that works faster, that is now Steve's new way. That's just how I do it.
Dude, I did that with Rob and I think Eric at the Bristol basement job with those like clip-in things around the lolly column.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Dude, you told me about those from miners.
Correct.
I used them on one job. I was like, wow, like this is awesome.
Game changer.
Game changer.
For sure.
Before I'm trying to like put some framing together up there. You're cursing on concrete. You're on like a metal lolly column plate on the top. Like it's a pain in the butt.
You got to build it out to be square. It's a nightmare.
Dude, I told that to those guys. They got it. They tried it. And they were like, no, this is garbage. Yeah. And ended up framing it out themselves anyway. I was like, I don't know. Maybe they didn't quite use it the right way, or maybe it was not the right one for that lolly or something. Because you know there's a 4-inch and a 3.5-inch lolly column. Like it's very close, but definitely different.
100%.
You use a 4-inch on a 3.5, it's definitely going to be loosey-goosey, you know?
I think they're fantastic.
I do too.
Screw right
I think
to
they're
them.
awesome.
Cock the joint. I mean,
you put that screw in there, it tightens it up, and it's like you can move it, but it's pretty stiff.
Before you set it all the way, you can move it. Exactly.
Yeah. Get them all kind of lined up. You got all your frame like 45, so it's mint, and bada bing, bada boom. Send it.
Yeah. I mean, that goes back to it. So the other day, speaking of like team and being humble, you had to do that thing with Joe.
Yeah.
The trim. And you're like, do you have a coping saw? I'm like, oh yeah. Do you know the reason I have a coping saw? So Steve never coped like quarter round because just never did. It's the base of the 45 base. It's the base of the base. Caulk it, painter makes it pretty. So when I came here, and this is my first experience coping. Any listeners who know anything about coping, you're going to laugh at this story. It was on a very high-end client. We didn't have a coping saw that day. We had a table saw. So my first experience coping was Zach teaching me how to cope with a table saw. Now, if anybody out there knows how difficult this is as your first time, you're probably laughing. So I think I wasted probably $68 worth of material. When my hand insanely close to a high spinning blade trying to learn how to do this. So after that day, I put it all in. I thought it was okay. Zach calls me and says, oh, by the way, nice work. I ripped it all out of the fucking bathroom. I'm like,
what bathroom was that?
I don't want to say the name in case they listen. Well, actually, no, I should, because you ripped it out and made it look pretty. It was the Smith bathroom up there. Super high-end bathroom.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah.
And you're like, all that stuff behind the tub? Garbage.
Pulled it all out.
Yeah. You're like, the thing behind the toilet, that little build-out, that's super sweet. But because you always have to like have a positive note when you do what you do.
Dude, that's good management, I feel like. You hit excellent. The positives and the negatives. You
I know.
End it on a positive, for sure.
That's how I know about you. If you come in with the positive, I know.
You're like, oh, it's coming.
I'm like, he's just winding up here. Here comes the heater. Here comes the heater.
You don't want to like completely tear people down.
But on the side note, I went out, got my own coping saw, and went and got some material and started practicing on my own. So this is like the type of mindset that we're talking about, that we're building here. And I talked to somebody else in this company. I'm not going to drop names. They did the same thing.
Yeah.
There's another person in here who bought their own coping saw and material.
Did his name start with an S too?
Correct, it did.
Yeah,
so this is the time. This is pretty crazy that, you know, you're
two different people did the same thing.
So that they could be excellent at what they do.
Yeah.
You know,
It's huge.
just because that's the way that the company does it, the finished product is 10 times better and they want to be the best. And it's on their own.
Yeah.
It wasn't to like
Personal initiative.
Nobody told them go home, practice this. It was like
That takes a level of maturity though that only some people have.
I think a lot of the guys, if they weren't familiar with something, like I know specifically like Eric, if he wasn't comfortable with doing something, he would do the homework on it. He would go out and practice it. I know most of the guys were, if they felt uncomfortable with something after or during the process, would spend the time on their own to perfect it, which is part of like, while we're talking about team, you know, putting the right people in the right positions and getting them involved so that you can trust them, because having those people who want to be the best is
not everyone does.
No, they don't. It's
not everyone even cares.
The age group, the average age group that we have with everybody is an atypical for who we have here. Like I said, it's atypical. The people don't, most people that in this age group who are in this industry, mediocrity is average. And being able to want to be the best is hard to find. I mean, we surround ourselves with people, but not everybody's familiar as I am from my industry, you know, history, seeing how mediocrity is passable. In this industry, and clients even have been programmed to eat that. That mediocrity
it's done.
Is okay.
Where's my check?
Yeah, that they're just saying mediocrity is okay, and don't feel that what they're getting is just good enough. When you and I know why we go back multiple times to projects to make sure it's perfect and do these little add-on things for clients in certain scenarios, because at the end of the day, the name of the company is on it and they need to be happy about it. There is so much that goes on behind the scenes that even you and I don't know that I've come like following up with clients after the fact, just checking in of what our guys have done because they were there and didn't like what somebody else had previously done and just addressed it because they were there. It's crazy.
That's awesome. I've heard some of the stories, probably not all.
And they just do that. And that's part of that whole thing. It's like building a team. You can't just hire people to facilitate the end game without finding the right people.
Well, it also has to, I feel like you have to focus on everything. Like some people just think, oh, let's grab some people and put them together and send it out. But like, I feel like there needs to be that glue, which was kind of like why the handbook and the core values and stuff was written. I mean, there was a time where I was trying to get everyone to memorize the core values. I mean, people know that they're there, but I would say that most people don't know them inside their head. I mean, I know what they are, but I would probably need a refresher on like the sentences that I put on there. But unless you kind of have that whole package, like it's never going to get that kind of cohesiveness that we have. And I think the guys that we have now are going to continue to evolve that, like as time goes on, like build it better, you know, but make the team atmosphere better, you know, and it's not going to be for everyone because not everyone's going to be a good fit here because not everyone is going to have that kind of those basic things of work ethic, integrity, care, and desire and drive to want to get better and learn. But for the guys that do, it's going to be something that they've never seen before.
Exactly. That's why, like you said, all these guys, you don't have to vet. You have the watchdogs in place, who have that and say, "Sorry, it's not going to work out." You know,
that's how it has to be, dude. Like you can't have these guys and just like send someone in there and say, "Figure it out."
No,
you know what I mean? Like, oh, we don't really like this guy. Well, too bad. Just figure it out. Like that's pretty
make it work.
Lame.
Then you start poisoning that culture that you've built.
Exactly.
because you're forcing them. They're unhappy because they don't feel that person is producing or driving for the same goals, and now they don't want to go.
It's like a whole balancing act.
I know. I see you scratching your head. It's just that toilet bowl filled with nonsense again. It's very difficult to process.
Well, that's what comes along with it is all the out. Somebody was just telling me, I forget if it might have been a client that I was talking to, but like that you're going to spend so many hours of HR, and that is just never going to go away because you have all these different personalities, all these different people. You never know when the problem's going to happen, but you're dealing with a problem with one or another or multiple at any given day.
Yeah, we just hope it's all of them on Monday. Cool.
Well, usually it happens. There's like 3 or 4 at once.
Yes.
You get like a couple like nice, easy weeks, and then it's like, I don't like how this is going. Mm-hmm. Solve it for me now.
I do think some of those things are positive because it keeps you and me on our toes. We've talked about this in our very first podcast, like that hesitancy to answer like the phone because you know what's going to be on the other end of it. You have to, and you have to have your game face on and be ready to jump and solve the problem.
Right.
But the guys have just, in the past year, I've seen just so much growth with them and motivation in them to just see the dream and start pushing for that end goal for everybody.
Yeah.
Not that we all have the same end goal, but I know that guys are starting to realize that they're setting personal goals for themselves. And I can see it. I've talked to them specifically about these things, and they're realizing that this company, the talent, the buzz, this type of thing is going to help them get their goal, whatever that may be.
Everyone's personal goal is going to be different.
Correct.
And that's something too that I've been like, because my whole mission, I talked about this in the podcast I did by myself, but my personal mission is to change lives of people around me and to make a positive impact on my community, to change my section of the world. Right. And the way that you do that, and I mean, obviously that kind of has gone into our company mission too. It's kind of similar.
Yeah.
But the only way to do that is to make a difference in people's lives around you. And the whole goal setting thing is huge, dude. And no one even thinks about it. Like, that's why I love that we started this podcast and that the topics that we can do are so broad, because I want to talk about personal development. I want to talk about finance. I want to talk about personal finances, like goal setting, all these different things, because it's all important, what you're just talking about, how the caliber of people that we have is like infectious. Like you're around here and it's like, oh, these guys are setting, and better than I, because that's the thing about me and my position is like, I only get like a partial relationship.
It took you a while. I've actually told you that for a while. I said, you get a watered down version of some things.
Well, I mean, you kind of always know, but part of it was like, now I'm not day to day with everyone all the time. So like you lose that section of your relationship. When I was in the field every day, dude, I felt real close to a lot of people.
Trust me, I talk to them constantly about like this. That's not there. They understand that the separation for what's going on now is purposeful.
Yeah, it is.
And it's to facilitate and helping their goals long term.
Right.
I think it took a while because they were seeing, and we were talking about it so long about the growth that's coming. The growth is coming, and they didn't maybe understand that type of leap takes time and planning. But now that it's been moving and the wheels are going and people are coming on and they're talented and like they're seeing some serious stuff, I've just seen the motivation just go through the roof as far as stuff, and the level of work has just been like the details and the need to have it perfect. Not that it wasn't there before, but I've seen it just blow past the high water mark. It's
We're definitely
crazy.
putting out some high quality stuff.
Yeah, the level is just crazy. I look at these pictures and I'm like, shit, these guys are just killing it with all the little details,
and going back to fix stuff and this and that. It's like really cool. And I think that all comes like with the...
I feel like my mic is fucked up right now.
You got to tighten the little thing so it stops moving.
This little doodad up here.
Probably the one on the side.
It's like 7 different widgets.
Right now. There you go.
I feel like I'm like talking far away from it.
Yeah, I mean, people have a pride, the definite level of pride.
I think that's a huge thing too. You know, we know that they're taking the responsibility, and at the end of the day, they're in these clients' homes.
Right.
And we build these really, really close relationships with a lot of these people. Mm-hmm. And the fact that they care so much is very hard to find.
It's extremely important to do the things that we need to do. And that kind of comes back to like having an excellent team. Like,
it does.
All this stuff that we've said, we've talked about, whatever. The team in the field and the team for sales and the company buzz or reputation all goes hand in hand. Like, if we're trying to give excellent experiences to each one of these clients, something that they've never really seen before in the contracting industry too, that has to be from start to finish. So like as a sales team, I feel like we do a really good job of communication and letting them know and following through and the dates, the whole 9 yards.
Yeah.
But then if that wasn't followed up with in the field, it would all kind of fall apart because that's what the clients are paying for. You know what I mean?
Right.
And the guys definitely know that and have definitely taken like the next step in making sure that they're putting out that same quality experience, which is amazing.
Oh my goodness. I think that goes along. Like when we're talking about like this topic is the team, that, you know, we can talk about the talent level and the quality, but the individual personalities of these guys, as far as how they are articulate and confident in their work, all these things are very becoming of, you know, an individual as their person, and they can handle themselves in every situation that I've ever seen them put in. Awkward, smooth, whatever.
Just roll through.
They've been able to handle it.
Yeah.
Which is really hard because usually in everything that I've seen over my years is, let me go talk to this person. And that person says, let me talk to this person. And you know exactly what I'm talking about. You're shaking your head. So this is how you lose that connectability to the client. If the client talks to you and you don't have an answer, let me get you the answer.
Yeah.
Instead of this drawn out, washed out
thing. You have to talk
thing.
to someone else.
And then it's
a bunch of nonsense.
Exactly.
Yeah. It's definitely a key thing. And it does come down to the people that we have and their personalities and themselves as an individual. Definitely seen a lot of growth, man. And that's kind of like becoming of the atmosphere that is here. It's just like, we're all and I feel like it has to start with the guys at the top too. Like, I'm moving in a direction that is onward and upward. You're moving in a direction that's onward and upward. Ryan's moving in a direction that's onward and upward. Joe is, Eric is, Joe, Walker, you know, like,
yeah.
Everyone I could list the whole team right now, and everyone sees that, and it's like, oh, you're in this group of people that is all performing and all wanting to get better and all wanting to grow.
Right.
What are you going to do? Just not?
Stuck in the mud? I told you, it's that whole thing that I use that analogy with you when we talk a lot about certain situations. I said, you know, you can get on the train or you can wait and it's going to blow right by you.
And then you're going to try and catch the caboose, and it's going to be like, well, shoot, why didn't I just get on a year ago?
Did you ever try chasing a moving vehicle? Probably going to not catch it.
It's a lot harder.
Probably not going to catch it, you know?
Well, that's the thing, too, is like as we continue to grow and try to keep our same principles and excellent experiences and product and all that stuff, that's all well and good. And I think with our systems, we can definitely do that. But the level of proximity that you're going to have to the core is going to get further and further and further and further out as this company grows, because it's going to keep growing.
Yeah.
And it's really cool right now. Really cool. But in the future, it's still going to be really cool. But wherever you end up, like unless you're a person that's going to push past all these other high quality people who are putting out their perspective and their growth, then it's going to be real hard.
Well, you've put these people here, and those type of people, as everybody starts to move, as the company grows, are going to be looking for their replacements like we talked about.
Yeah.
And they're only going to want somebody who can step into their shoes with the same quality, same attitude. So I'm hoping that it doesn't get watered out. I don't think it will, because I can see the level that we're at and how much they care.
Yeah.
That they're not going to let anybody take their position unless it's going to be filled by the same type of person.
Right.
And, you know, even as it gets bigger, of course, you're going to always have
some kind of saturation.
You have to. I mean, it can only be under a microscope for so long.
Right.
You know that better than most. You know, that at some level it's like...
Dude, I just got to say, like, it's been over the last, like, month to month and a half where, like, I really have kind of, like, taken a step back from things.
Yeah.
It's been so nice. Like,
it's needed.
Crazy nice.
Room in your brain. Yeah.
You always were talking about, like, having the finger on the pulse, dude. Because I tried to take that step back in 2019, and then it was kind of blowing up. And then, so it's really been since early 2020.
It's hard. And I tell everybody that, you know, it's like...
It's hard until you have the right people in place, like you were just saying, like to have your replacement be as able to step into those shoes.
Yes.
And it's hard until you know that those individuals are going to be able to facilitate things.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I knew that it wasn't going to happen until you saw it. Like, you can listen to me, Ryan, Joe, but you needed to see, and it took me a minute to figure out why you couldn't do it earlier, but it needed to be as a whole. And I just saw that recently when you made that comment to me. I took a step back and I looked at it and said, why now? And why not earlier?
Yeah.
And I said, okay, so let me analyze this a little bit. And I'm looking back and I said, okay, I understand now why today versus yesterday is because he looked at it as a whole, as to the team that we have now.
Right.
And the responsibility that everybody's taking on their own, and everybody's kind of accountable for what their actions are. Nobody's pointing fingers. We just get shit done.
Right.
No matter what. Somebody needs help. We solve the problem. We're moving on. I'll pull from here, go help you. It's this kind of...
Well, it had to have all the pieces falling into place of to be in that flow state of where it's not smooth, but it is stable. You know what I mean?
Everybody's constantly thinking.
Yeah.
Which is nice because you don't have to think about it all.
Right. And no one has to think 24/7, but from Monday till Friday, yeah, sure, we do. But from Monday till, I think that's just because our brains are wired a little loose. But
yes, exactly.
From Monday till Friday, you got to be on, man. And even Sunday afternoon, you got to get ready.
For sure. You know, guys call all hours of the night. Typically, they don't call late, but you know, I get calls. Dude, I'm sure Ryan does, and it's like 7 o'clock. A lot of the time, it's just to shoot the shit. But sometimes, like, okay, tomorrow this is going to happen,
and I thought about this problem, and I don't know how to fix it.
So or I just want somebody to be aware of it.
Yeah,
that I might need this to get picked up.
Exactly.
They already know what they need and what's going to be the problem, but they want to go to work and not have to stop.
Well, that's that benefit of having that second layer of Ryan. Like,
sure,
we write our work orders, we write all of our stuff. Ryan reviews every single one.
Yep.
So now that he's on to that, it's
tells me constantly if you're listening.
Right. So now that he's like onto that, it's like now we have that second level of check. So
yes, safety net.
A safety net. So if something's missing, and then after him is the lead carpenter, like reviewing it with Ryan,
which always check too.
So really, there shouldn't be a lot that's missed. You know, if there was something that was missed, Ryan should pick it up. The salesman should pick it up, but then Ryan would pick it up when he does his review a couple weeks out. So that gives us a little time to like solve a problem.
Yep.
And then when the lead carpenter is reviewing with Ryan, it's like he's already gone over it. The lead carpenter's going over it. They talk about it, develop a better plan if there is one or needs to be one,
Right.
and then make it even smoother.
That's the thing. Like, I love the fact that, like, the guys are willing to just call, even it's a little bit unclear, right before they know what they want to do. They just want to have some clarification.
Right.
And they know, they feel they can go to anybody and get that clarification on what they want to do. They're right there ready to set it. And they're like, okay, Ryan, okay, Steve, Zach, Joe, even anybody else on the team. Good? Good. Boom. You know, done.
Makes it super smooth,
Absolutely.
which for construction is a feat.
It's like maze navigation. It's like my 5-year-old running in the corn maze, trying to figure out which way to go. But that's part of the deal. Everybody comes in and they know their shit, and we get shit done.
For sure. It all goes back to the caliber of guys on the team.
100%.
In closing, I mean, what would you say? I mean, we just went over a lot of stuff in an hour.
Yeah. Has it been an hour already?
Yeah. How would you tie it all together? Like, what goes into having the best team, and why is a team so important for a workplace environment or for a business?
I think at the baseline, when it starts, like, how you're going to have guys willing and wanting to go to work, just showing up, like enjoying the work that they do.
Right.
You know,
Well, that kind of has to be a little personal too.
it does. But if they go to work and there's just a bunch of people together who are there for a paycheck, they know they get up, I got to go work with this.
Oh, they're going to feed right off of that energy.
Yeah, it's a nightmare. I've been there. You've been there. So you start there. So if you get the same like-minded people, same attitude, now you're already at a good starting point. The guys want to come. Then you get the guys who care about their work.
Right.
So that's level 2, because now everybody's having fun. They care about doing the best job. And then you just make sure that everybody has like a skill set on top of it, because now you've just hit a home run. You got the guys who communicate well with each other. They care about their work and they're excellent at what they do. Now you've kind of just put this whole package together to make things run smoothly and a quality level.
I would say most people listening to this are going to say that those 3 things you just said, like, is like a unicorn, like finding a unicorn, you know?
Yeah.
But really, I feel like you're not going to have a smooth team initially. Like, if you're trying to build a team, like, you might find a quality individual, but his personality is not what fits in the groove.
Right.
But you definitely have to have some level of like cognitive thinking and observation of each person on your team to be able to see this person might not be a good fit right now, but how can we help? Like, is he moldable? And if he is, what can we put him into to get him kind of fired up about it to where he would want to change for the company?
Of course.
Or if this person has an extreme skill set but is not a good member of the team, how do we find out where to plug him in? And if we can't, we got to let him go. Like, you can't have any poison in the well. You know what I mean?
No.
But it's not going to happen overnight either. Starts with one.
There's been a lot of people who've come through these doors in the past 6 months.
Dude, I got to say, like, Joe, I tell everyone, Joe's been here for 5 years. Like, that dude has seen a lot. And, like, for anything that anyone wants to say about Joe, like, he was the one for me, like, that started it. And then Ryan, and then Eric, and then you. And then it kind of snowballs after that. But, like, unless you have that person that is...
Don't let anybody don't let Zach tell you that shit.
Well, I know our friendship relationship went back until before Joe. Like, our working relationship, too, with miners. But... like, I feel like until you have that one person that you can do, like, no one's going to bring in a bunch of people and have it all work right away.
Never works.
Never. Because it's too new. There's no foundation for it. There's no basis for anyone to want to work together. Like, you can fill a bunch of bodies into a bus, but it doesn't mean they're all going to like each other or be cohesive or be able to work together.
Never happens.
But I think once you start developing that relationship with one person and they kind of grab hold of the environment and the fire, and then kind of start spreading a little bit to the next person.
Yep.
And then once you find that person that like can really multiply it, like then you're good.
Yeah. I mean, we have people, you got to just understand that. And I know you know this, personality.
I was saying all that more for like, not specifically this company
no,
or
for
another
sure.
business, you know what I mean? But
Yeah.
like that is how it happened in this company too.
Yeah. I mean, I believe that when you're interviewing somebody, you don't see their personality, which goes back to the very beginning of this conversation when you throw them to the guys.
You can't.
And if they're comfortable, like sometimes putting the tool belt on and going to work with a bunch of guys is more comfortable than talking to the boss. Most of the time it is. And then that's when you get that vibe and you know.
Well, also, I mean, you're not going to see a personality in 1 week either. You're going to see a little bit in piece. But even like that guy, Rob, like he came in and he was all like hot and like full of fire his first week. And then he really burned out after that.
Like full flame out.
It was like he came in just like.
P.S. for all the listeners who can't see him on camera right now, he's sitting behind us throwing middle fingers and he's laughing.
I digress, but
definitely
you can't in 1 week know if a person's going to work. I mean, Dan was just telling me the other day, it's like it takes like 3 months to really like see if it's going to be a good fit in the job or not, and really it's going to take probably about that time to really see someone.
Some guys show right out their colors. They'll go there and they'll put this show on for whoever does the interview. And when they get in the field, they're a 180.
Immediate. But
cursing on the job, just not part. Like
that's going to be a 1 day show here.
For sure. Yeah.
But I mean, some guys will fake it too.
3 days. Yeah.
Some guys will fake it too for a week or into 2 weeks or whatever. And then you find out like it's really not a good fit.
Yep.
That's why I tell everyone, like we want to see. I don't know why more, like so many companies like, here's an interview. Let me look at your resume that you just completely BS'd. And if you got good qualifications on paper, then, hey, you're hired.
Yeah, you look really nice. You're dressed very well today. You're hired.
Yeah, like let me blow so much smoke up that butt. You know what I mean?
And they walked out of the room. They're like, fucking got that guy.
But I don't know why more companies don't just do it like a trial run. Like you can do this with any other company. Like come work for 1 week and see if it's a good fit or not.
I think it's a lot of people hire out of the necessity to have people.
A body.
Correct. So you lose that the value of the person is just completely defeated by the fact that you're just overlooking a skill set or core values that you had originally started for the company because you're in the back of your brain, you're like, I need somebody right now. So you overlook, you don't see.
Dude, I think that is like a problem for that leader because you're looking past the issues that are going to shoot yourself right in the foot as soon as they start.
I see it all the time, or used to see it all the time with companies that said, I just hired
a guy.
Well, because they are booked out and they don't have enough bodies to do it. And like, I just hired a new guy. So
much better. Just
like, I don't know.
Don't hire the person. Don't go through all that emotional duress and that negative energy that you have to go through by thinking that it's going to be your wing, hope, and a prayer that's going to save you, and just do it yourself and get it done a little bit slower.
You know what I used to tell them? I said, let me know how it goes, how that felt when you fired him. I used to tell them all the time.
Not great.
No, it's worse to have that conversation.
Yeah.
Just tell them, no, sorry, it's not a good fit for you here.
Dude, I've fired a bunch of people now, and it never gets easier.
Zero chance that it gets easier.
Never.
I mean, when it's a deserving situation.
Sometimes it feels good in the moment, but up until that moment, I'm stressed out. After the moment, I'm usually stressed out, like this and that. Like, yeah, you say it, you make that face, but I don't know. Maybe that's just how much I care or whatever. But I know, like, my common sense and my like clarity is not going to be overridden by care. But it doesn't mean that I don't care about these people. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. I mean, you think about it as much as I do as far as what is behind the scenes,
Yeah. It has to be a good fit. It has to be working. And if it's working for them, but it's not working for us, then see ya.
Hardest part about being the boss man.
Soon it's going to be your job.
Nope. As much as I want to fire Rob behind me right now for flicking me off, I know he's talking shit.
Rob showed his true colors, and after that first week, you know, it's like his time will come.
Yeah, he's going to be up there. We can't give him the power of firing, or we'll have nobody working for him.
Oh, I know. Just straight garbage talk about everyone.
Yep.
Well, this has been fun.
Nah, seriously, Rob, big love.
No, Rob knows.
I know. He's laughing. He's trying not to be pissed.
He knows what's up. Dude, this has been a good one. I think that dropped a lot of value here.
I know it was a little like awkward at first because I was like, I don't really know. Like, are we gonna talk about this like topic? The first one was so like random when we just did it. You're like, here's all the shit. Sit down, let's talk. And it went.
Yeah, because it was just like a conversation about excitement, basically.
Yeah.
History a little bit, but the real thing about this podcast though is we got to get into like providing value. Like that's why people will listen. They're not going to listen to just us like shooting the shit. You know what I mean? Some crazy people might be related to our industry, but we got to be able to like put out shows that are showing insight. You know what I mean? Like this, like talking about a team. What do you need to do? You know, like what is because we basically just broke it down. Like this is why a team is so important.
It's a full blueprint.
This is what you need. And this is what you need in the back end to be able to make sure that the team will have that glue and stick together.
Right. I mean, it's a blueprint to how to get guys, like-minded people to make a successful company.
And don't be looking for not like-minded people. Like, take your time.
Without a doubt.
Weed it out.
Valentine's Day Massacre 101.
Lessons learned from a lot of stressful years taken off of Zach's body.
Oh, yeah. That was a brutal, brutal month. All right, man. So the next one I think I'm going to do is me and a guest.
Sounds good. I told you I invited 4 people.
Yeah.
On Tuesday. 2 of them I have confirmed dates for. The other 2 said they would do it, but need to confirm a date.
We need a reference so that we're not on the same.
I put them right in the schedule.
Oh, sick. I'll take a look at it. And then we'll start plugging them in. Because I have a couple of people that that's my phone.
Yep. It's time to go.
That's a wife.
With that, we're out.
Peace.